The year is 2001. On September 9th, British host Chris Tarrant welcomed 8 eager contestants to the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire stage. Among them was Charles Ingram, an Army major who had been a contestant twice before.
Put these words in the order they occur in the title of the Agatha Christie thriller, Death on the Nile. How many got it right? All these were correct. Most of them, nearly all of them. Who was fastest? Charles Ingram in 3.97. That's so fast.
He finally got his chance to take the hot seat, but things didn't start well. Charles was unsure of most of his answers, and after 7 questions, he had only 1 lifeline left. Yet somehow, by the end of the game, he had done the impossible, winning the grand prize of £1 million. It seemed like a miracle. However, the win quickly became controversial. Charles Ingram wasn't just lucky, he was a fraud. Or at least that's what the producers and authorities claimed. The way Charles answered his questions raised suspicions. Throughout the show, he seemed uncertain and clueless about many of the answers.
I'm going to go for A1. Yep.
Final answer.
No.
Are we on the main strategy or the sub-strategy? I've rather lost the plot here of your campaign.
Slight detour at the moment.
Yeah.
Yet when he reached a stumbling point, he suddenly changed his mind and gave the correct answers.
No, I'll go Craig David. Yeah.
Final answer.
I'm going to guess Craig David.
Final answer.
Final answer.
It was as if something or someone was helping him. The producers reviewed the tape, and what they found shocked them. As Charles read through the multiple choice answers, someone in the audience would cough whenever he said the correct answer out loud.
Would be Aristotle Onassis. I'm pretty confident it's Aristotle Onassis. Yeah, I'm going to go for Aristotle Onassis.
Still very happy with the strategy?
No, but it's too late, so...
It's the right answer! You got 8,000 pounds.
This person was a fellow contestant, Tequin Whittick, seated in the audience. He was allegedly signaling Charles with coughs, and these coincidences happened repeatedly. The suspicion grew stronger, and before long, Charles Ingram, his wife Diana, and Tequin Whittick were all under investigation.
And I think it's Paris. Yeah, I'm going to play Paris.
You were convinced it was Berlin?
I know. I think I was wrong. I'm going to go for Paris.
Final answer.
Final answer.
You had £250,000. You did not need to play this question. You thought it was Berlin. You changed your mind to Paris. That brought you 500,000.
Yes!
As soon as Charles' win was recorded, the production team was on high alert. They held his winnings and reviewed the tapes carefully. It didn't take long for them to connect the dots between the coughs and the correct answers.
I think if I had to guess, and I can, I think I'd take cricket.
You just won £64,000.
The evidence was damning. 192 coughs were recorded throughout the show, many of them aligning with Charles' moments of hesitation. The producers reached out to the police, and the investigation was underway.
Mr. Ingram, we didn't meet. I am the managing director of Celador.
Right.
I think I should just get straight to the point.
Yep.
And effectively say what is a pre-prepared statement here. I have to tell you that we have suspicions from viewing the recording of last Monday's program and subsequently studying the tapes carefully that there were irregularities during the taping of the show in which you participated.
Oh, good Lord, no.
Because of that, I have to tell you that these suspicions have been referred to the police.
Right.
And thus, we, not for the moment, will be airing the program or indeed authorizing payment of the check.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, I completely refute that, obviously. Good Lord, I'm absolutely gobsmacked. All right, well, thanks for letting me know.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers, bye.
When confronted by the show's managing director, Charles and Diana vehemently denied any wrongdoing. They claimed there was no plan to cheat, and the coughing was merely coincidental.
We didn't cheat on that show. There was no plan to cheat on that show. I won that money perfectly honestly and fairly and squarely, and while I was sitting there in the center of the studio, I did not notice any coughing at all. I was entirely unaware of it.
Tequin Whittick, for his part, blamed his chronic cough.
All my coughs were caused by an allergic reaction, so any which corresponded with the right answers was merely a coincidence, but half of my coughs at least corresponded with nothing.
But the damage was done, and a year and a half later, all three were put on trial.
I mean, I know I didn't do it, I didn't cheat. It was just unfortunate to be there on the wrong day. It was only coincidence that I was there on the same day as Major Ingram.
So you're still proclaiming your innocence?
Well, I am innocent. And I would say to people, if you look at the evidence closely, then you will also agree with me.
The trial became a media circus, with tabloids dubbing it the coughing major scandal. The public was fascinated by the story of this audacious fraud. It didn't take long for all three defendants to be found guilty. But to this day, Charles and Diana maintain their innocence. They argue that they didn't cheat and there was no grand conspiracy.
What does it feel like to be convicted fraudsters and described like that?
Absolutely awful. This didn't happen. None of us cheated on that show. There was no planning to cheat, no attempt to cheat. There was no thinking behind, an attempt to cheat. And the second thing is that there was no scam.
According to them, they were victims of a good story, one that the public wanted to believe. And honestly, it's easy to see why. Who wouldn't be captivated by the idea of a contestant pulling off a £1 million heist in front of millions of viewers?
I just hope they don't make a big deal about the Major might be innocent. I have sat through so many hours with the police and the fraud squad of tapes of the Major show. He is so guilty. It's like, once you lock into it, it's like, oh, for God's sake.
And at the time...
he was done for an insurance scam back in court a few weeks after that.
And when it was actually going on, did you suspect?
No. No. Because, you know this, there was so much, especially the guy's winning £1 million in front of it. There was a huge, people roaring, screaming. People cough like mad. Everybody's coughing in a studio because they're sort of enclosed or whatever. I had no idea. If you are, so you've done this with me a couple of times. If you do the £500,000 question and you're playing for £1 million, I say to you, Eamon Holmes, you've got £500,000. If you go for it, next one and get it right, great, you win £1 million. But if you get it wrong, you lose £450,000. Now, everybody I said that to over 16 years. You see their face.
The money.
Oh. Except, and I only thought about this months later, the Major who went, yes, OK, let's play, because he knew he was going to play, and he knew he was going to get it right, and he knew he was going to win £1 million. You've got £500,000. If you go for it and give me a wrong answer, Charles, you lose £468,000.
Yeah. Okay. Chris, I'm going to play. No, I'm not. I mean, I don't mind taking the odd risk now and again.
But here's where things get even weirder. While the Ingrams were thrust into the spotlight, another group of people had been gaming the system for years, and they did it under the radar. Enter Patty Spooner and Keith Burgess, two quiz show enthusiasts who figured out how to beat the selection process of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. They formed an underground syndicate known as the Consortium. This group wasn't just about getting on the show. They ensured their clients would maximize their winnings. They flooded the phone lines during the contestant selection process, ensuring their clients got a call back. Once the client got the call, a consortium member would rush to their house and coach them on answering the producer's questions. On the show, clients would practice fastest finger first to improve their chances of making it to the hot seat. When a contestant used the phone a friend lifeline, the call would be redirected to a safe house where the entire team would be ready with Google and encyclopedias, giving the contestant the correct answers. The consortium raked in millions, securing 200 spots on the show between 2002 and 2007. They earned a whopping £44.2 million in winnings, and their operation continued until the show's producers tightened the contestant selection process. Despite their success, what they did wasn't technically illegal. As for Charles and Diana Ingram, their lives were never the same. They were subjected to constant public harassment, their home was vandalized, and their family suffered unimaginable stress. Charles resigned from the army, and their financial situation spiraled into bankruptcy. Tequin Whittock also faced consequences, resigning from his position as a lecturer. While the Ingrams were vilified in the press, the consortium quietly walked away with millions. It's a tale of two very different types of fraud, but both left an indelible mark on the legacy of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So, was Charles Ingram a brilliant con man, or did the media simply create an irresistible narrative? And what about the consortium? Were they playing the system or outright cheating? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more fascinating stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.